Hi, this is the grumpy old IT guy. Welcome to Module 3 of my beginning TSQL course, TSQL, Transact SQL. After completing this module, you will be able to create simple to medium complexity queries and scripts using Microsoft's TSQL query language. Not only will you be able to create queries that retrieve table data for reports, but also insert, delete, and modify rows in the database tables. Now let me turn the module over to my virtual assistant Nigel. Take it away, Nigel.
So, if I didn't mention it, DML stands for Data Manipulation Language, and it includes commands to query database tables, insert data into tables, update existing table data, and delete rows in the tables. The basic TSQL query is composed of parts or sections called clauses and predicates. The 6 main clauses are: the select clause is used to select columns. The from clause is used to select tables and link tables. The where clause is used to define filters for searches. The group by clause is used to group data into sets. The having clause is used to filter the results of group data sets. The ordered by clause is used to sort query results. Only the select clause is mandatory, as we will see in the next lesson. The other clauses are added as required by the query specifications. Lastly, clauses are composed of one or more parts called predicates, which typically include operators to filter data in the result set generated by the query. You will use predicates mainly in the where clause. Comparing a column to a value is an example of a predicate. The basic query usually is made up of a select clause and a from clause, although under special conditions, you can have a query with only a select clause. In this last type, you need to hardcode the data you want displayed. This type of query comes in handy when generating test data. The select clause contains columns, values, or even calculations using functions called aggregate functions. In this example, we are selecting select dept_id as department ID, emp_id as employee ID, emp_fname as employee first name, emp_lname as employee last name, emp_fname plus a space character plus emp_lname as employee full name. From master_data.employee. GO. Notice the keyword GO, which is used to indicate the end of a batch script. In this case, the script has only one query. Here is a query that uses all 6 clauses. We will walk through a similar query in our demo, but suffice it to state that it has a select clause, from clause, where clause, group by clause, having clause, and finally an order by clause. You will learn what each of these clauses is used for in this course. Where clauses are very powerful, as they allow you to specify or include filters in your query so that you can control the granularity and what type of data you want your query to return. For example, a business specification for a business rule for a report could be: return all products where the sales price is less than $50. The where clause allows you to include predicates that contain filters to implement this requirement. Typical operators in the where clause include equal operator, not equal operator, greater than operator, less than operator, less than or equal to operator, greater than or equal to operator, IN, not IN operator. Predicates are used in from, where and having clause primarily. Okay, here is our demo. Let's execute some simple queries with SSMS using the query pane. We will also check out how to generate simple TSQL queries with Object Explorer. This is just a taste of what's to come in the following lessons in the course. Professor Grumpy, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Nigel. Here's our little demo for our future students, just to give them a taste of what a medium to complex query looks like that they'll be able to write after they take this course. Okay, it's a data manipulation language. It's the DML part of SQL. And what we need to do is to ensure we're in the Hobby Shop database. We actually are, but you can use a command called use, and you simply drag the name of the database over, Okay, and then just hit cursor return, put the go batch terminator. Okay, so if we were in a different database, let's say the human resources database, by executing this command, okay, I'd be back in the Hobby Shop database. So our first report is going to be a sales report that's going to generate some discount prices for a Hobby Shop sales information. It's a Hobby Shop that sells model trains. Okay, so we're going to have a select clause, a from clause, and a where clause. And the select clause lists a whole bunch of columns. And as you can see, the formatting is okay, but I like to line up the column names and the aliases. Notice that the physical column names are a bit cryptic. They're like physical database table types. All right, so by using the as operator, I can change the name of the column from TRANS_ID to transaction number. And there you see the rest of the columns: transaction date, customer number, and customer name. Also product number. Going to pull out the product type name, the retail price, the sales quantity. Then I'm going to do a little math. Retail price type times quantity is total sales. Then I'm going to use a function called convert. That's going to convert the results of the following formula: retail price times quantity times 0.85. It's going to convert it to a decimal 10,2, and it's going to call the results discount price. And as I said, the information will come from the transaction table in the sales schema in the Hobby Shop database. And furthermore, we're going to filter the results by the retail price greater than 30. So you execute the query by highlighting it, executing it. Okay, you let it crank. I think this is a fairly big table. So there you see it running. Let me just expand this a little bit. Okay, so the query is finished. And we pulled 319,053 rows in a total of 8 seconds. So that's pretty slick. So there you see the different databases, the customer numbers, the electric locomotive, the prices. There you see the results of all the math calculations. So let's look at a second example query. It's based on the first one more or less. We are going to pull out the customer number and name, the product number and name, and then we have a complex formula. Okay, we're going to generate a column called 10% markup. So we're going to take the sum, we're actually summing up the data. We're not going to use the individual transactions, although we're pulling them from the transaction table, but we're going to aggregate them. And we're going to use the sum function. So it will add up the retail price times the quantity times 1.10. And then furthermore, we're going to use a format function to convert the results into currency. So we're pulling it from the transaction table. Then we're joining it to the product table, which is in the inventory schema. Notice the aliases for those two tables, T and P. We're going to join those two tables on the product ID. That's a column common to both. Again, we're filtering for retail price greater than 30. Then we need to group the results, right? Since we're using a aggregate function, the sum aggregate function, we're going to group by the columns in the select clause that have nothing to do with the formula, basically. So we're going to group by customer ID, customer name, and product ID and product name. We're further going to filter the results by, again, the sum of that formula for results greater than 50,000. And then last but not least, we're going to sort the results by customer ID, customer name, product ID, and product name. So if I now highlight this query and execute it, we're only going to get 45 rows. But look at those totals. this hobby shop is doing great. Looking at the first row, okay, for customer number C001, this is Acme Hobby Shop. The product number is P002. It's a Z-gauge electric locomotives. And wow, look at that, 10% markup, 1,515,096. So if it sells all those products, it should make a lot of money. So basically, this just gives you an idea of the queries you'll be able to write. Okay, I'm going to turn it back to Nigel.
So, if I didn't mention it, DML stands for Data Manipulation Language, and it includes commands to query database tables, insert data into tables, update existing table data, and delete rows in the tables. We discussed how the basic TSQL query is composed of parts or sections called clauses and predicates. And we stated that the 6 main clauses are: the select clause is used to select columns. The from clause is used to select tables and link tables. The where clause is used to define filters for searches. The group by clause is used to group data into sets. The having clause is used to filter the results of group data sets. The order by clause is used to sort query results. We also saw how the select clause is mandatory and it can be used to generate test data. Lastly, we discussed how clauses are composed of one or more parts called predicates, which typically include operators to filter data in the result set generated by the query. You will use predicates mainly in the where clause. Okay, let's start learning how to write TSQL queries. Surprise! Pop quiz. What is DML? What are the 6 main clauses in a TSQL query? What are the mandatory clauses and optional clauses in a query? What is the difference between a clause and a predicate? Where are predicates used? Are insert, delete and update queries DML or DCL? If you have trouble answering these questions, just go back to the lectures for some reviews. That's it. Well, there's more. Next, we do a deep dive into the TSQL select clause, all by itself.